Hello and welcome everyone. This is Cal StarCraft and I'm going to be doing a little bit of an analytical cast of this best of 3 between GoSuHwangsin and cLSByRada. I believe this is from the finals of the Zotac Cup, and I really do like Wangsin. Now I haven't seen these games before, but I hope they're good. So let's jump right into this. Here, of course, in the 9 o'clock position, we have Hwangsin as our Protoss player, and in the 3 o'clock we have ByRada as our Zerg player. Cross bonds for PvZ. You always hear casters go, "Oh yeah, this is gonna favor the Zerg player. He wants to have the longer rush distance." Yeah, I think that's true in general. But other important things we want to note is that warp gate aggression is really strong still. Other things we want to note are this makes it less of an awkward situation if you wall off your third here as Protoss, because if you wall off your third here, that makes the more obvious fourth base your gold, which can be kind of tricky. If you spawned here, that means that your fourth base is like a skip and a hop away from the natural of the Zerg. It's a little bit farther, or I guess it's the same distance, but this is in the way of the rest of your bases. Zerg could swing around here for a counterattack otherwise. So those are other things like building placement, small things you want to look at when you're analyzing here. Looks like a regular old gas pool coming out for ByRada here. Something you want to do against Wangsin. He's kind of known as more of a cheesy player. I think this wall-in that he does is interesting. Maybe it's... I feel like it's probably a little bit stronger against like a 6 pool. I don't really know though. I don't particularly know why he goes for this wall-in. It seems alright to me though. Players used to do it like way back in the beta, and then they stopped doing it because of Baneling busts, and then Baneling busts are kind of terrible, so I guess you can do it again. Like, I don't really see a reason not to. Wangsin just parking his probe right there. Something you should always do. Absolutely 100%. Like, you could send this probe back to mine right now, but you've got 20 harvesters on 2 gas. You're almost going to be fully saturated pretty soon. So that one probe, by the time it makes it back, isn't going to have done much. And it should be able to escape these Zerglings. Hopefully it will escape those, as long as it doesn't cut too many corners. Yeah, looks like it's going to make it out of there. Excellent by Hwangsin. Making sure the probe survives. Ooh, catching some Zerglings too. Now, some people might go, force field for 2 Zerglings. Was that really worth it? Yes, I say yes, because way more often than not, I see Protoss players run out of force fields, not because their sentries ran out of energy, because you get a ton of sentries early game, especially with the opening that Hwangsin's going. That's so many sentries for the early game. They're going to have so much energy. But, quick Nessus here. Perhaps he wanted to keep that energy with that quick Nessus, but, they run out of force fields because their sentries die. So, killing Zerglings more likely to keep your sentries alive. Interesting expansion. Going straight for the Twilight Council here. So it looks like, if I had to guess, his plan is, I'm going to expand, and I'm going to get DT tech, but not necessarily to be aggressive with it, but perhaps just to defend any kind of roach aggression, roachling aggression. It's ever so popular. Walling off the front here with a couple of gateways. Super strong. An excellent move. And here are the roaches by Rada. So it looks like we are definitely going to see some Roach Ling. And there's the Dark Shrine by Hwangsin. Now let's see. The Dark Shrine has 75 seconds left. And this Roach, let's see. Okay, the Roaches are popping. It's going to take them about 30 seconds to get cross map. Maybe 20 seconds. Hwangsin's going to have 3 gates up and probably enough gas. Well, we're going to see. I think for sure Hwangsin is going to be fine. Like, looking at his building placement, there's no way that all this can be knocked down in a mere, let's see what time he's got. He's got just 20 seconds left. There's no way he's going to lose everything in just 20 seconds. Useless force field. That second force field was good. Clutch kept the roaches out. This force field's really good. And there are the DTs. Okay, so now this would have been super good if he had had some kind of proxy. Like if I was doing this play, I would put a proxy somewhere out here. But at this point, Hwangsin should be okay. Like, oh, he's still taking a lot of damage. Okay, but all of this is eventually going to get cleaned up. He's not putting on any counter aggression with the DTs. He's just, which is really bad. He needs to do that. Hwangsin not really dealing with this in the best way, I gotta say. Come on, Hwangsin. Spore going down at the front now. Counter aggression with the DTs is gonna be less good. Now, see, I really was commenting on the DTs there because a lot of the DTs weren't necessarily doing all that much near the end of the fight, especially. And since they weren't doing anything there, you know, you might as well have them go attack cross map, or at least just one. If he had had one cross map, he might have denied spine crawlers at the natural and taken out the natural expansion. All of a sudden, this is a totally different game, and Hwangsin's got it in the bag. As is, like, Hwangsin is just not dealing with this well at all. He is going to kill this third. There's absolutely no way that third is coming up. Like, even if you were to start morphing an Overseer right now, there'd be no way. But to be honest, Rada could probably just make... Oh, what? He can kill those, man. Dark Templar can kill these things, bro. Dark Templar one-shots a larva, I believe. So, always good to get in there and kill some larvae, even with your DTs. Okay, so a lot of roaches, a lot of lings. Let's see. Unit counting station, 4 DTs, 5 sentries, with 1 attack. There's quite frankly not a chance in hell that Hwangsin holds this. So we're going to see a GG here in a second. Just waiting for the GG. Okay. Alright, you can leave the game, Hwangsin. It's just fine, you can leave the game. Nobody's gonna judge you here. We're all friends. GoSuHwangsin, please, here's the game. When you're microing 2 stalkers against 14 roaches, you know the game's over. Okay, so that's the end of the game. Let's note some things. Let's go back, let's note some things. Before all of this, I want to take a look at specifically, actually I can open this up now. Okay, let's look back at the moment. Let me think. Okay, so first things I want to note are the build in and of itself. Hwangsin has done this DT build, I assume, as a counter to what is being done to him here. I can't really see any other reason you would do this. Maybe as a counter to a very, very quick third. Like one of those 430 thirds. He's still going to be on hatch tech. And he probably wouldn't have a spore down at his expansion. So he would be able to kill the third with a few DTs. But just looking at this objectively, we're 753. Zerg is doing this all in with 30 harvesters. You can actually do this with as few as 26 harvesters. Or actually, I've seen it even with just 20. So this is not the fastest this rush could theoretically be. And yet, Hwangsin still doesn't quite have the DTs that he needs at this point in time. Which is kind of rubbish. Okay, so we're going to slow this down. And we're going to take a look at it. Force fielding there, nice. Perhaps if he... Okay, so he could have wasted one less force field there. Wasting one less force field. Is there another place he can use this force field? Okay, so he starts to warp in 2 DTs here. I'm okay with that because he's got enough gas. What he should do is immediately warp in another DT here and send it straight for the throat. 2 DTs to defend. Oh, but he can't. He's out of warp gates, yeah? Okay, since he's out of warp gates, I would definitely go 1 DT here, 1 DT here, and just go attack. So now let's think about this defense in terms of 1 DT. Okay, so there's indecision here. It's a first mistake. He's like, what do I do with my DTs? So they start to come out here and attack Zerglings. I don't know. He's got sentries. He can handle the Zerglings. I think for sure the DTs would have been better served going after these roaches. Additionally, the Zerglings are very fast. If I'm a Zergling, I can just run away from the DT. If I'm a roach, I cannot. Especially while I'm still trying to inflict damage on the Protoss player. Now, let's think about this. Oh, see, this is another misstep. He could have force fielded right here and continued to keep the roaches out, but he did not. Let's look at our Hwangsin camp. See, he's focusing on these DTs right now, which aren't even like being as effective as I think they could potentially be. And meanwhile, it could just be 1 DT being as effective as these 2. Making our sentries most effective by keeping the roaches out, and we could have a DT here by now. And the evolution chamber is still not even started. So he'd be in much better shape. Okay, so that's like a terrible misstep, but like we can excuse it. Let's say that happens. The Roaches got in, they sniped a sentry. This force field is misplaced again. Like, he wanted to trap the Roaches back here. Like, it needed to be here. But okay. Let's say we continue to miss these force fields that we shouldn't be missing. These DTs are working on these lanes. I really don't like that decision. This area is fine. Like, this area is defended. This area is the area that is not fine. Let's see what our cooldowns are. He's got one warp in right now. Okay, so he prioritized getting that force field up over the warp in. That's fine. That is something he can do. But in the process of getting that force field up, of course, he is going to lose another sentry. So he's lost a sentry. I say pull these guys back, probes forward to defend your sentries. Just, you really need to keep these sentries alive. More disorganization. These DTs need to be doing a little bit more effective stuff. He's got one DT up here, which is being particularly effective. I really like this DT. And this pylon placement comes back to bite him in the butt. All I can say is, I guess if you do this, then you should build another pylon like here. But this pylon is good. It should have worked in a DT. So, all around, I think what we've got is a fairly decent opener by GoSuHwangsin that is good. It's good against the build that we see here by Rada. LOL. You see what I did there? It's good against the build that we did here, that we saw here, but we have to execute it perfectly. It's razor thin, and so like he didn't, so it didn't work out. But assuming he did, I feel like he could have. He definitely could have smashed this game, like just won it outright as soon as this rush came. So, good choice. The build's there, poor execution, I would say. Moving on to game number 2 here. Let's go ahead and jump right in. This time we're on Xel'Naga Caverns. We've got GoSuHwangsin and cLSByRada. I don't know exactly how the Zotac Cup works, but if I had to guess, I would wager that Hwangsin got to choose which map would go next, as he was the loser of the last game. And Hwangsin would definitely be the kind of player who would favor Xel'Naga Caverns. That kind of player being a more aggressive, cheesy, kind of one-baser kind of person. Hwangsin going for this pylon again. Last game, it was perhaps a little bit detrimental. We saw when we broke down the replay, really focusing on that one area of engagement. But I'm going to go ahead and say this is still pretty good. I still like it. It's okay, A-okay with me. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of opener Hwangsin goes for this game. I liked his opener last time. I think it was a really good opener and an excellent read on his opponent and the map. However, his execution needed to be a tiny bit better, and I feel like he would have had that for sure. Interesting move here by Hwangsin. Okay, he poked in, he saw the gas, he said, oh, gas, okay. I know what's going on, so I'm just going to go ahead and block this hatch. Cute little patrol pattern there. Very sexy. So another gas pool opener here by Rada. I'm actually not gonna stop laughing at that ever. It's so funny. Oh my god, sleepy. And pretty typical stuff here so far. Cybernetics core going down the same placement as last time. I think the cybernetics core is necessary to make this a wall. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. Interesting. Can an Archon fit through there? I bet it can. Just little things you should note when doing a build. Fairly quick second gas there by GoSuHwangsin. Perhaps seeing another DT play. Will he get this probe out of there again? Nope, not quite paying enough attention to the probe this time. Probe does get snagged. Hatch going down, and speed along on the way, just leaving one drone in the gas. Just in case he's got something and he says, I want to do a little bit more roaching. I want to do a little bit more aggressiveness. And actually, I forgot to note the gas timing on the expansion last game for GoSuHwangsin. Because he did have a lot of sentries and DTs. I feel like his gas timing must have been something crucial. I don't really know though. I will go back and look at the replay later. I won't tell you guys what it is. Ha ha ha. And 2 gates going down at the back. So it's just going to be a 3-gate expansion. 4 gates. I lied. It's a 4-gate. Awesome. That's actually really cool. I love 4 gates. This Overlord sees the gas. He does not see the gates. He's coming in. He sees 1 gate. He sees pylon at the front and sentries. He sees 2 gates. He does not see the 3rd gate. Or the 4th gate, rather. Warp gate's finishing. Is that wall at all completed? Whenever I'm doing a 4-gate, I always wall off completely. Okay. Alright, so GoSuHwangsin should be freaking out at this point. Oh, he already had the Roach Warren down. How many drones does he have? He's at 29. I tell you, this kid knows how to get some drones out early. Either he was planning to do the same Roach and Lean garbage as last game, or he suspected this move. Proxy pylon just now going down. It's a bit late in my estimation. Some pylon fell somewhere. PC supply block. Don't know where. Oh, at the front there's a pylon. Lost a sentry unnecessarily. Yikes. Okay, first real. This is a mistake I make a lot. You don't really want the probe in there. Like, sometimes you're in the midst of doing it, and you're like, great, the probe, it'll help me somehow. You don't really want it in there. That's bad. You like, lose your pylon, and you're like, oh, fuck, I wish I hadn't, like, left my probe out there. Or even more common for me is, oh, shit. When did that happen? Okay, well, that's GG. I didn't even notice. That's a pylon. Oh, he killed that pylon to get out. That's really weird. Well. GG. Oh, here, I'll play it out to the end. Oh, GG, GoSuHwangsin. Okay, so Rada takes the series 2-0. Take a look back. Okay, this pylon at the front goes down. What? GoSuHwangsin? He took out your pylon. You gotta build a new pylon. Your supply block even. Like, make another fucking pylon. It's just a mistake. And like losing units at the front, like this was doomed to failure. Execution very poor by Hwangsin. Builds decent. He was not fooled by Rada. The build that Rada is doing is like the hardest counter to what Hwangsin is doing anyway, so I don't think it would have worked. One thing you can do if you have the probe out here, and this is still walled off, is that you can use your probe, your proxy probe. You can send it back to build an expansion while continuing the pressure and making mostly sentries. But yeah, not the best series by Hwangsin. I like this build in game number 1. But I guess that's all for this time. I'll see you guys next time. And till then, don't drink and drive.